Okay guys, today we will show you the basics of the rear body lock, how to perform some takedowns here, match return your partner, and all the details. Let's get to it. Boise. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Sandro and Tum here, Energia Martial Arts. Today we're going to show you some entries to the rear body lock and how to perform at least 3 basic takedowns from there. And in a different video, I will cover way more devastating takedowns. But first, let's do the basics. So, the rear body lock is when I control my partner's back and do some takedowns from there. But first, how do you get to the back? I'm not going to go in depth. I just want to show you a few options. If you're unfamiliar with the options, I will try to use the correct names so you can then look those names up. So first off, the arm drag. If I control his arm, I can check the arm, step in and go towards his back. Boom, controlling here for my rear body lock. Second off, duck under. So we're both in collar tie. I'm gonna duck under, like I'm going for a shot. Chain my head over, going to rear body lock. Next off, slide by. So my partner has a collar tie. Yeah, I'm gonna grab, lift, slide by, and go towards his rear body lock. And finally, let's do 2 more, a little bit closer. When I'm going for my shot, so I go for my double leg, I'm chaining my head up, steering, getting into my rear body lock. And for the guys out there with MMA experience, when my partner tries to hook me, so I'm opening up, he's gonna go with left hook, I dive under, control for the rear body lock. Now that was a quick overview. Once again, just rewind if you want to go into those entries. Slide bys, duck unders, double legs, arm drags, let's keep it with that. Now the rear body lock. So when I control my partner here, I see a lot of mistakes here. So a lot of jiu-jitsu guys make the same mistakes in this position. Best advice would check out some wrestling or good MMA coaches. I will be the less shitty jiu-jitsu coach today and try to make it as good as possible. So a few things that happen here is the grip. First off, if I control too high on my partner's chest, he will just step behind me and throw me over. Yes, like this, boom, and we'll go backwards. So I don't want to control his chest, I want to control his hip. Now on the grip, you can go with an S grip if your arm's not that lengthy, or a gable grip, but if I'm in the middle of his hip, yeah, and I'm pushing my head forward, especially in MMA, if Sandro tries to throw an elbow, boom, I'm gonna get stuck with his elbow. If my face is steering and he's going to elbow, paf, 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 I'm safe here, at least safer. Now for jiu-jitsu, it's also important to keep some pressure with the head because that will break his posture down. Me pulling the hip and my head pushing his back will break his posture and make it harder for him to defend the grips, okay? Now, I don't want to be symmetrical in the middle because even though I pull really hard on his hip, he's still pretty free. Another thing I see a lot of people do, I'll get to the grip in a second, is making this hoop, yeah? Now, if I just have my arms around him and I put pressure with my fist, there's space in my elbows and Sandro can rotate within that space, yeah? So I don't want to make a hoop, especially if I start going from a side body lock and he can turn towards me and we're here, yeah? This is good, I have double unders, but it's not as good as having the back, yeah? So what I really want to do is put my elbows on his hip. You see this? Now if he wants to turn, his hip is stuck. So controlling the hip, having it asymmetrical and making sure the hip is stuck with your elbows, that's more important. Now about the asymmetrical part. Today, guys, I'm just going to lift my head a little bit so you guys can hear the audio, otherwise it will be bad. But for you, keep your hat on your partner. If my grips are in the middle, yeah, Sandro is really strong in his base. Now I want him to feel like he's getting dragged down with just my weight and grip. So I will go to one hip and I will either go with a gable grip or I'm gonna put this wrist in and control my own wrist or pull it in and down. It doesn't matter, play around with the grip you like, but I'm gonna pull this one hip in. So it's asymmetrical. On the other side, my elbow is it's lifting a little bit. So I'm pushing in here on his body, just like with a double leg, and I'm putting his hip down. So there's a bend in his body. Once again, let's show it from this side. Boom. Once again, instead of being here in the middle, I'm gonna twist and turn, so one of my arms is longer, control his hip, put my elbow in, and I lift my other elbow up to get this balance, okay? Now we're gonna do the first takedown. This is one most people learn in jiu-jitsu, but it's also the one I see getting messed up the most. So we're gonna do a mat return. I'm gonna show you from the side so you can clearly see what's happening. So for this basic mat return, I'm gonna trip my partner, fall down to the mat. Now before you skip this part, you think you have seen this, the most important thing is a grip. Now what most people do, they control their partner pretty well, yeah, and they base the leg out. First off, the biggest mistake is they sit down first. So stay standing, Sandro. They first fall down and sit, yeah, and then they're on the knee, and maybe they tumble the partner, yeah, and then they end up here, and Sandro gets on top. So it's way too risky. I just had his back, and now I don't even score a takedown. It's not worth it. Second off, so I'm gonna stay hip on hip. What most people tend to do is they just fall and pull with their arms. It's more so my hip is also making the takedown, and finally this grip. What most people do is they hold the hands. Now look, I'm holding the hands. Yeah, I'm just gonna switch the mic a second. I'm holding the hands, and as we fall, I'm still holding the hands. Boom. Now Sandro falls on top of my hands, and now 1, 2, 3, who gets on top? Now, maybe it's me, maybe it's Sandro, but that's not worth the risk, especially in MMA. Now here's the room for thought, because this is a beginner video, my hands are here so that Sandro cannot walk away. Go walk away, 1, 2, 3, boom, yeah, he's gone. So my hands are here to keep him, but as soon as we find that tipping point, yeah, gravity will take over and I can release my hands. So this hand will go out. Now we're gonna show the other side so you can see what's happening with this hand. Look, as we're here, I'm stepping, blocking, so my foot goes out to his foot, my other foot blocks here. Be careful not to pull your partner on your knee. So I'm turning a bit out. Now look at this hand. As soon as we hit this tipping point, 1, 2, 3, boom, goes out and I base. Now we'll always beat him to the top position. Usually that will be mount, but I'm happy with quarter mount as well. So a solo drill for you to practice is as you go, is as soon as you pull, look at this hand. That's how I want you guys to go. So I want to beat him in that first second to score the top position. There's no reason for you to hold on this hand, fall with someone on top, and then try to get on top, because you don't have a base. That foot is way too far. So you need to have this elbow to put yourself on base. Now before you get scared and think, hey, what if I fall like that? I will injure my shoulder. Man, it's very low. You're here, you're just falling like this. Yeah, you're good, okay? Now that's the first one. Let's quickly do a reverse one. I really like this. It's when I switch my hips. So I switch and I go down on one knee to go here. Now I get to this leg drag position, yeah? And from there I want to start getting my top position. It's also good for MMA, because I can start in punching. My variation of this is, instead of dropping to my knee in a leg drag, yeah, let's switch sides. I'm dropping to my leg all the way, throwing it over, getting into cross ashi, starting attacking from here. But please don't do that if you're a beginner. Just wanted to show that. Now, both of these takedowns go backwards. Now, what if my partner is starting to walk forward and breaking my grip? No, sorry. So yes, like this. Then I go backwards. It's easy, right? Because his weight is going behind. Boom, we go back. But what if my partner doesn't want to go back? And I try to lift him backwards, like this. That's when I out circle. Once again, guys, mind the grips and head positioning. It's just to explain. I'm going to outstep, and I'm going to dip him forward. Now, if I go forward, he will walk with this leg. You see? So I have to block the leg. Now, I see a lot of guys getting this leg all the way hooked in. I don't like that, man. I'm too scared to injure my knee. We'll end up in some weird positions, and it's not necessary. I want to stay on top, especially for MMA. Let's go big back, bros. Look, as soon as I dip him forward, I will just block with this knee. I can step on the mat, but what I like to do is just keep it up. Look, 1, 2, 3, I'll block. And then we fall here in this turtle position. From where I can start attacking the back, whatever you like to do, attack leg locks, I don't care. So, backwards, reverse backwards, forwards, and finally sideways to finish it off for the basics. For sideways, especially if you have strong arms, instead of cupping his hip, we'll slide down a bit here to block his thigh here, yeah? Now, in this case, I'm blocking his side step. So now Sandro can step sideways, but I'm trying to block that here as my elbow lifts up once again. So we're here, and I'm just gonna side shuffle. That's it. Ending up once again in this back, this leg drag position, chasing side control. I think these are the most basic kind of wrestling, jiu-jitsu, MMA details for the rear body lock. We will do another video with some very devastating throws, lifts, rolls, and some cooler takedowns, I think. But let's just start off with this basic one. Thank you, Sandro. See you next one. Buise.